Oh, it's okay. It's quite all right. It's not there yet. I haven't even shared my damn screen.
No lipstick or nothing.
Hey, April.
Hello, Jessica. Welcome everybody to hashtag Mom Life with April and Jessica.
How are you?
I am doing a lot better. As you know, everybody else don't know. I was going through like some really, really bad headaches. I'm sorry I was gone so long, but I had to like bring myself back around. But I'm back. We're back. Hope everybody has been doing okay. Today's topic is going to be kids. That's this week's topic.
Kids Week. This is an interesting week, I think, for us. So I was really looking forward to this week because it is going to discuss. It's going to discuss different stages of our kids, and I think we're starting off with one of the most, I don't want to say controversial, but one of the most difficult stages that some people don't want to talk about in teenagers. Dealing with teenagers.
Yep.
So for myself, yeah, you got your hands full. But for myself, my teenager's now an adult. He's 20, he's going to be 22. So I actually really like the teenage years for not myself, but my kids. So
that's the age that they get to explore more. And everybody, I am still here. I know y'all like, she always eating something. Yes, I am. I'm actually cooking dinner. So this is a part of the mom life. Since we have these groovy backgrounds and filters, you guys don't know where I'm at in the house, but I know you hear that sound, don't you? But yeah, teenagers, I feel like they get to start exploring, so life is opening up and it's fun for them, but they just got to learn their limitations,
Yeah.
Now we're not trying to hold them back, we're just trying to protect them because we know what's out there in the world and we don't want our kids to go through that.
And so much goes on for them too. Teenagers, I mean, being a teenager, remembering it, and then seeing it like from the outside looking in with my son, it's ridiculous. Like hormonal and like the changes with friends and school. And now just, I mean, going back, like society and just the world is just completely different. Even like, it's crazy. Like, I'm not going to be, oh, my ice machine, sorry. I'm not going to go through with it with Dylan until, for a couple more years. But as of right now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because it's just a crazy world. But I mean, and I feel like teenagers, for the most part, get a bad rap. And I feel like a lot of times teenagers, when I come across them, they don't necessarily, or they're not necessarily heard. And trust me, there is nothing I hate more than hearing teenagers that think they have the right to be heard, because they're like, don't get me wrong, they are still kids and they still have a lot to learn, but they need to learn how to be heard in a very positive way. My son and I, when he was a teenager, we used to have like very deep philosophical conversations. And I appreciated that so much. I'm like the best person to go to for like a nice deep conversation. But he would come to me and he would like ask me like, what do you think about the universe? Like, where do you go after you die? And like, we'd have like really deep conversations. And I mean, he wanted to be heard and he wanted to be challenged. So he would want me to have the discussions with him and listen to him. And I didn't agree with everything he said.
Well, you can't agree with anything anybody says like that.
Right. And I think the best part about teenagers is that you're not supposed to agree with them on everything, because their brain is still
Developing.
Exactly, because their brain is still developing.
I'm conversating with a teenager and I want to hear their thoughts on things. And if they going in the right direction, I want to make sure I'm giving them that positive feedback to let them know that they're doing a good job and going in the right direction. But if I see that they're going in the wrong direction, I'm going to speak up on it. I'm not going to just say, oh, well, I don't want to be combative with them or hurt their feelings. Life is going to be full of things that hurt your feelings. So,
right,
you got to prepare them for the world, whereas you're going to say it to them in a nice way. The world is not nice. They don't have no sympathy or empathy for your feelings. And, they're not going to get it nice in the world all the time. Might be some rare occasions, but
they're very hard on themselves too, though. If you think about it. Teenagers, they're very hard on themselves too.
Some are. Some don't take any responsibility for their actions.
I'm trying to think if I can give one piece of advice about dealing with teenagers. What would be my one piece? Is difficult because I have a lot of advice. Because I particularly, like I said, I like dealing with it. I feel
like I want teenagers to know that their best friend and most important person to speak to is their mom and their dad. Like, I can understand if they can't talk to their parents and, they need to make sure that it's somebody, even if it's a counselor at their school, but they should be encouraged that no matter what it is, that they can talk to their parents. And a lot of kids do a lot of crazy stuff because they're scared to confide in their parents about things.
Well, I think that for the most part, it goes back before even being a teenager. Because, I mean, from my experience with some of the kids, it's like at the point where they became teenagers, like there's some kids I know, there's a 13-year-old that I knew that I was tutoring. And by the time he was 13, he was telling me stuff that he wasn't telling his parents. And I mean, listen, he's not my kid. I'm just going to tell him straight opinion and give him advice and make sure that he's safe and not doing something stupid. I'm not judging him either because he's not my kid. And obviously I'm going to just make sure he's doing something safe. And at the same time, if he's going to come and talk to me, what am I supposed to do? Turn my back and say no? I mean, I have to be realistic with this kid.
No, you got to use that confidentiality to your
exactly.
own. You got to make sure that you're very careful with what you're telling them. And if you feel like it's something that their parents should know, even if it breaks their trust, you got to go to them.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is.
It's scary. And it makes me wonder, like, what did his parents do so bad before that he doesn't want to talk to them? Like, why?
That he just don't feel, he might feel ashamed, or you never know what they told him not to do in life, and he might be exploring those options and don't want to be a disappointment to him. It could be a number of different things. Kids have their reasons, but it's just really getting them to understand that those reasons are valid when you making decisions that can affect your future.
Yeah, because they don't think past. They don't think past today. That's for sure. They really don't. I mean, I don't think when I was a teenager, did I think past the same day? Like, no, not so much. Probably not. Not so much. But it's, I mean, I personally like it. There's a lot that there's they're smart. They're forming their own ideas, their own opinions about the world. They're paying attention.
Some are smart. You can't give them all that credit now. Some are dumber than a box of rocks and be out here doing dumb stuff and think they know it all. And you can't give them all that credit. There's some kids that's out here who are open-minded but cautious. You get what I'm saying? And that's all you can ask. And they get a bad rap. Those are the kids I'm talking about. They get a bad rap just because they're teenagers. Even though that's not what they're about, it's still reflecting on them because they're in that age bracket. You get what I'm saying?
They're open-minded and cautious?
Yeah, open-minded but cautious.
Oh.
This kid is out here that I got a friend and her daughter is in her late 20s now. She's still a virgin, but she likes to still hang out. You know what I'm saying? She works, she date guys, but she told them like she a virgin. And she do get a little upset because, you know, she's not out here like everybody else. So she'll understand like, you know, why the guys don't want to talk to her like that, you know, and that's how it's been. Like,
that's sad.
I mean, it's not sad because she want to hold herself back.
No, I mean, it's sad that like, obviously that people feel that way.
That's the experience that she has to have because she chooses not to be of the world. You get what I'm saying? But she's still hanging out and enjoying life.
Exactly.
You know, it's just that one part, she's like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. You know?
Yeah.
But at first she was like holding it a secret of the way she was treated and, you know, so it was making her depressed. But nobody knew why she was depressed. They only came out like, oh, wow, you know.
The other thing is too, like teenagers are so much more exposed to everything nowadays, like so much more. I was on TikTok scrolling through. I don't know how I even found this, but there was a girl and it was saying like forever in our hearts, something girl, Maddie or whatever. She was like 13. She was getting bullied and she killed herself.
Oh,
I know. And I'm like, at 13, I didn't know, like.
Yeah, it's a high suicide rate. I can say that.
Like I didn't think of that stuff when I was 13.
Yeah, but you gotta think of the level that these kids is on nowadays. They cruel.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
These kids is cruel. Those that are supposed to be popular and all the hot crowd and all that stuff, they're cruel.
Yeah,
they
she was
don't
getting
care
bullied.
about people's feelings.
Yeah.
That's why I keep telling my kids, like, hey, y'all going into high school. It ain't, the people are cruel. You know, if you come to school and got a hole in your pants or something, they gonna talk about you.
She was a pretty girl. I don't know what the whole thing was. And I mean, there was like a news, obviously it was on the news and everything, and I probably could look it up, but like I was just scrolling and looking and I was just thinking, and I'm like curious, and I'm saying to myself, when I was 13, it's like I was not thinking about, first of all, I didn't give a beep about what anybody thought of me when I was 13. I just didn't. I mean, and trust me, there was like a lot you can say, and I just didn't care. I had friends and I did my thing and that was it. But like, I don't know, but then they see these things and you wonder, you say to yourself like, okay, well, seeing this stuff, is this making it better or is it making worse?
No, that makes it worse because then they think like, and the one thing that's hard to get them to understand again, because they being brainwashed by video games, is that when you go, you don't come back.
That's the other thing too. I'm like, do they understand this? And then why, as a teenager, what is so awful that you cannot go and talk to somebody about?
This 21-year-old girl here in Detroit this weekend, I think I was screaming about it on the phone talking to you.
Probably.
It was 3 girls that were at a party. When the party was over, one of them fell in the water and the cousin jumped in to save her.
Yep,
she didn't even know how to swim. She jumped in to save her cousin and she didn't even know how to swim.
And then she died, didn't she?
Lost her life.
Mm-hmm.
Had a 1-year-old baby. Sad.
Like, I just want to tell all the teenagers, I want to be like, hi guys, like, listen, you know, if there's a problem, just give me a call. Like, we'll take care of it. Like, I just like really want to like that. Yeah. Like, I feel like there's not like a big deal. Like, if there's a problem as a teenager, I don't know. Like, when I got pregnant when I was a teenager, my parents were like furious. And they were like, no, we're not having this. It's not happening. And then, I mean, they didn't throw me out. They didn't do anything drastic. We worked together. We made it happen. And it was like a good thing, a positive thing, you know? And it's like, now I can speak about it and say like, okay, ideally being 17 and having a baby is not what you want for teenagers, ideally. But guess what? Like, you live. Like,
you ain't dead yet. I was pregnant at 15 and had my daughter at 16.
You're alive too. So, like, you're still alive. So it's like, it's not the worst thing on earth. And it opens your eyes to like something that's completely different as a parent, completely different. It's like, when I see my son, like my oldest one, I literally think of him as an adult. Like, it's very hard to disassociate child with adult. And I mean, that's where you come in with the teenager, and it's difficult. It's difficult. I think it's even harder when it's your first child.
Yeah.
It's even harder when it's your first child.
Remember, I got a whole grown daughter.
Yep.
With kids.
Yep. And
so when I hear her cursing, think about her cursing. When I hear her curse, I'm mad. Like, oh no, like, hold on. But what can you do?
And it's just like, I want to say to them, like, I never would ever be a teacher and teach high school. That's something I said I would never be able to do. I could never teach like middle school, high school. I just have no patience for teenagers because they think that they're like just always right. I have no patience for that. But if they were going to be like, listen, I need to talk to you, you know, my mom doesn't understand things. And I literally went to the doctor. This is as a teenager. When I was a teenager, I went to the doctor at the time and asked the doctor if I can get birth control. And I don't know if my mom's watching or not, because I don't ever think I even had this discussion with her because it was irrelevant. I'm like so past it. So I went to the doctor, a doctor, like person that was supposed to help you. And I said to her, I was like, listen, I'd like to get birth control. She turns around and tells me, I think that's something that you should talk to your mother about. Are you kidding me, woman? Like,
they gave it to us and condoms if we asked for them.
Well, they didn't give it to me. I guess they thought that I was dumb and just, you know, wouldn't do it or something. But that was what they said. So I remember going back to the doctor with my mom and my sister for something. My sister's 3 years younger. And I was pregnant. And like, let me tell you, when I was like pregnant, I looked like I was like 9 months pregnant at like 2 months pregnant. So I remember like walking in pregnant, and I go to her, see, remember when I asked you for that birth control? Because she didn't give it to me. And that's somebody that was supposed to have helped a teenager.
Right.
So like, oh, listen, I don't regret it because I love my son. So it's like, thank you, lady. I'm glad you never gave it to me. But at the same time, you know.
But morally, they were like not helping us back then.
Exactly. And I don't ever want to see that happen to like another teenager. Are you kidding me? Like, that's horrible. That's horrible. I would hope that somebody like would help somebody, another teenager in that type of situation.
Yeah, it's sad to go through something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, like at the same time, I always say like being young and everything, even like his dad is a pretty decent guy and everything. And we don't talk anymore because we just don't have to, but his dad is okay and stuff like that. Like being so young, wasn't the
was
worst thing that
nobody's
happened.
fault. It was nobody's fault. Y'all made a mistake and y'all grew up and y'all lived on from it though.
Yeah, I
Y'all
mean,
didn't
we
use it as an
survived.
excuse like, oh, because I had this kid, I couldn't do this. Like, what?
I actually graduated a year early because I had my son. I graduated a year early. So everybody else graduated in 2001. I ended up getting my diploma in 2000. So I've gone to college, I got multiple degrees. I mean, like honestly, it didn't do anything different. I've worked ever since I went on my first job interview with him in my backseat of my car. Like, he was like a month old in the backseat on my first job interview. They were like, yeah, bring him with you. I was like, okay. Yeah. And I mean, that's a teenager. Like, you're going into a job interview and you have no choice. And, you know, and looking at it now, it's like, well, what the heck else were you supposed to do? My parents helped me as much as possible, and they did
At
fantastic.
first, didn't nobody even know I had a kid. I had the baby and nobody saw her. My mom had her. I was 16. I worked 2 jobs and I went to school.
How your mom help you?
Until she didn't want to keep her no more.
No, I stayed home with them and I did all that stuff. And so, I don't regret any of it because I think it's fine. And it's just like, I didn't have to ask for the help either on it.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I didn't have to ask for the help. I was really lucky, and you were too, that we just got it. And it makes me like wonder.
But what about these girls that they get put out when their parents find out they're pregnant and they can't go back, and the parents, they be at homes, and that's what I want to do is I want to help them.
Yeah.
Give them a safe haven, but all that shenanigans got to be left in the street.
It's true.
No tolerance. Because nowadays, there'll be no sign young people that's healing.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
I think that also they're influenced a lot by the people that they're with.
Definitely.
And a lot of times too, you have to remember too, a lot of the girls that you come into contact with, a lot of these girls are not necessarily hanging out with the best of guys.
But they ain't hanging out with the best of girls either. These girls be out here worse than the guys is now.
Mm-hmm. So it's hard to break them. It's impossible to break them out of that. Like the group that I was with, we were dorks. Like, honestly, like if I looked at these kids now, if I looked at myself, I'd be like, oh my God, what a bunch of losers.
Yeah, but back then you was cool. It wasn't no loser.
We worked for it back then.
And on goggles, you know what I'm saying? Walking with a limp or something.
No, I mean, we had our fair share, I guess, of getting into issues and stuff, but no, like we did like car stuff and things like that. But other than that, it was just, we didn't have TikTok. We didn't have all the stupid like Facebook.
We had nothing.
We did have MySpace. We did have MySpace.
MySpace wasn't nothing. Listening to people's music, looking at their posts, like it wasn't like Facebook.
Yeah, no, it was nothing like it. MySpace, and you make like a little anime character of yourself, and she had wings and stuff, like that's what you would do. But it's not, you had nothing like you have now. It's just
but you did have that stuff. People didn't know about it or didn't know how to find it. But it was always there. Listen, they got all these little anime characters and stuff. There used to be this site called I Am View.
I remember that.
I Am View. Man, he used to be on there talking to all kinds of people. And then on Yahoo, used to have the little chat rooms. AOL did too.
Oh, AOL had, that's literally like the very beginning. AOL with the chat rooms.
Yeah,
That's like how it all
AOL
started.
chat and stuff that you could go into. It was off the chat.
You instant message people.
No, you could be on the camera with people.
Oh, I think that was before my time, maybe, or
1994, 1995, 96, 97, and on. You could have, even before that, in the 90s.
yeah, no, I wasn't, I didn't have computers back then.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, no.
It was already there. Your cameras was pixelated more. They wasn't the best the quality back then, but all that stuff, I got pictures back then from on the internet. You probably wouldn't be able to tell it was me, but it was me. That stuff is old, but the kids think it's new. And I'm like, that stuff is not new. It's just that they giving it a different name. That's it. They just naming it different, but that same kind of stuff, it's been there.
Yeah, but they also do so much more advanced things now. Like the things that they do are so extreme. Like, I mean, hello, when was it they were doing those Tide Pod challenges? That I don't even remember what that was recently. What was it, like 2 years ago?
I ain't gonna do that stupid stuff. That ain't more advanced. That's just stupid.
Well, okay, they've advanced to being dumber then. I mean, I don't know. Like back when we did not do stupid stuff like that. I did not do like, did you?
No, I ain't drinking nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what did I do that was even remotely dumb like that? I mean,
why would you want to drink or eat that? Like,
I can't think of anything. Like, no, nothing.
Huh? Yeah. What's wrong?
I can't think of anything that I did when I was a teenager that's stupid like that. But like, it makes you wonder, like, is it for popularity? Is it for attention? Is it for boredom? Is it for all of the above?
That's what I think is all of the above. Huh?
It's sad. It's really sad because that's what it's become. It's become a vie for like the top spot. Like, hello, we all know, like on TikTok, you get your little coins and all that crap and all that sort of stuff. Like, that girl, what's that girl's name? That one that everybody was like, oh, I want to be like her. And she had like a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, what is this coffee about? It's like, I don't know anything about this. It was, she had like a coffee or something.
There's too much weird stuff on there.
Yeah, Charlie or Carly or something like that. And like all the kids that I was watching, they were all like, oh, I want to be like her. I want to be like her. You ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a TikTok star. I'm like, what? I'm like, that is not even a job. That is not even a thing. I'm like, that is not even a profession. Like, please, no, absolutely not. That is not a job. I don't even know what that is. If a teenager ever came up and said they wanted to do that, I would smack them with a book, heavy one.
All right, we're a book.
Yeah, for sure. Because no, it's a lot of misguided kids. A lot of misguided kids. So I'm trying to think of my one piece of advice before we wrap this up. What is my one piece of advice? Oh, gosh. I got to give one piece. Lord knows I got more than one thing.
They know the drugs. Talk to your mom and dad about everything.
Wait, are you giving the advice to the teenagers or to the parents of the teenagers? Who are you telling this to?
I'm so done.
Who stay off drugs? Who? Like,
I thought we were talking to the teenagers.
oh, we're supposed to be telling the teenagers? Oh. Okay, all right. That's a good idea, April. We can do that. We can give it a piece of advice to the teenager and to the parent. Very relevant.
Hilarious.
Very relevant. I can't believe that your piece of advice was stay off drugs. So that's very, very very old fashioned.
They know the drugs and talk to your mom, to the teenagers, and for the parents to drink more wine.
Okay, well, mine's not like hers. My advice to the teenagers is please find someone to talk, because I can guarantee someone is willing to listen. And my advice to the parents is listen when your child is going to talk, because if they're going to talk, it's because they have something important to say. There you go. Stay off drugs. Stay off drugs.
It's over there. Right there.
So tomorrow we have another segment of dealing with kids for Kids Week. Next week is going to be the previous stage of adolescence, which is not necessarily my favorite at all. I feel like it's going to kind of go downhill from here for me.
You know what?
No, it's all right. But yeah, we're gonna start with our next session or segment, I should say, tomorrow, and continue it for the rest of the week. Still have some things that we want to put together, right, April?
And we owe you guys some valuable materials from last week for our power hour that we weren't able to have again due to these really bad headaches I was having. But we're gonna make sure that we drop that in the comments. We're gonna try and get it done for you guys so that you can just access it before the end of the week. So look out for that. It'll be posted, down below. But we'd like to thank you guys again for watching, participating, taking your time out. And we're going to let you guys have some time back in your life. We'd like to thank you again for hanging out with #MomLife, April and Jessica. And you guys stay safe. And I'll see you soon.